In the deepest dark room of the prison, hiding a strange prisoner, he climbed up the wall every day but not to escape from prison, but in the exercise. Others rest he exercises, plus pull-ups push-ups. The reason why he is so eager to get stronger is because he has hate in his heart. Before he was imprisoned, he was an ordinary engineer and had a beautiful wife. That night, a robber suddenly broke into his home. Tom heard his wife on the phone calling for help. He was anxious to drive back as fast as possible, and he rushed home but saw his wife already lying in a pool of blood, did not breathe. Later, Tom grabbed the gangster and sent him to court. The gangster is a rich kid, actually bribed the judge, was sentenced to acquittal. Looking at his wife's killer arrogant face, Tom was furious. Once the trial was over, he grabbed the police's gun and killed the gangster on the spot, finally getting revenge. But the real tragedy was still behind. Tom was sentenced to life in prison, but also sent to the local notorious prison, where the inmates are more than one murderous. Fighting and killing are common things, and the guards here only recognize money. The prisoners just came in to be scavenged all their belongings. A guard took a fancy to Tom's wedding ring, and he refused to give it. The other side beat him first, and then snatched the ring. There is also a sick prisoner named Jake, liked to bully the weak, and Tom came in with his cellmate Billy, often suffered from his bullying. The guards turn a blind eye to this, because Jake gave money. That night, Billy's wail spread throughout the entire floor of the cell, so that Tom's sleepless night. The next day he saw Billy's miserable appearance, and Jake's smug face. Tom instantly remembered the vile murderer of his wife. He could not help but smash his fist into the other man's face, followed by a struggle between the two. The guards came up to stop it, but they only grabbed Tom and gave Jake a look that was clearly a secret collusion. Tom was then put into the small black room, the most horrible place in the whole prison. It was unnerving to watch the fecal water drain directly to his feet, emitting an extreme stench, and there were bloodstains on the walls from the last inmate's suicide. The daily food, which was this bowl of something like fodder, sleeping with only a slab of stone and leaning against the foul-smelling pipes. Tom could no longer stand. Late at night he tore open his prison uniform and made a rope to hang himself, but the poor quality of the uniform made him cannot die. He simply slammed his head against the wall and instantly lost consciousness. Then a moth flew to him and hovered for a while, then flew to the bowl of food. Tom picked up the bowl, and the moth landed on the spoon again, as if to remind him to eat and live. In the dark Tom thought of his kind wife, and he regained his faith in survival. One bite of the unpalatable food Tom came out of the small dark room. The guards gave him a new cell, which has 4 beds, but only 1 prisoner. The guard said here lives a homicidal maniac. Before 3 cellmates were killed by him. If you do not want to die, to get money to me as soon as possible to help you change away. Then Tom was shut in, only to see that is a face full of murderous injuries of black people. Tom was afraid. The next day he found the prison guards to put together all the money turned in, hoping to change a cell. The guards received the money but said it was not enough. Tom knew he had been tricked, but could only endure. He gradually learned that the prison has 3 major gangs often fight each other, and his initial offense, Jake, is not only a gang's big brother, or the prison's fighting king. The prison has a kind of brutal fighting competition. The winner gets a higher status, the loser will be beaten alive. The guards and warden know about it, and instead of stopping it, they secretly promote it because of the money that can be extracted from it. And Jake's gang is not ready to let Tom go. Work! They grabbed Tom a beating. The guards are watching, not only do not care, and afterwards put Tom in a small black room. When it rains, the rain pours directly into the house, making the already bad environment even worse. The desperate Tom finally understood a truth. In this place of the weak and the strong, only violence can protect themselves. He began to exercise desperately, climbing the wall every day, pull-ups, push-ups, sandbagging, lifting dumbbells, carrying wood, running to practice endurance. After a few months of hard training, Tom had his first fight, and his opponent was Jake, his enemy. Just on the field Tom received a blow, and was hit in the abdomen, completely by Jake pressed, but he carried on, and then find an opportunity to punch back, followed by 2 punches, 3 punches, crazy counterattack. But when Jake slowed down, he started getting punched again. Jake grabbed him for a shoulder tackle, landed hard and hit him with a knee to the head. Tom was beaten and bloodied, tried to struggle to get up but was kicked over. Finally Jake grabbed his leg and slammed it into the post. Just then Tom kicked Jake in the key part, then pressed up and bit him in the neck. The situation was instantly reversed. when the guards realized that something was wrong and rushed up to pull them apart. Jake had been bitten through the throat and died on the spot. Seeing this scene, from the prisoners to the guards to the gang all stared in disbelief as they witnessed Tom bite through his opponent's throat in a fight. He let out a beastly hiss and no one dared to come near him. Since then, Tom has become the new king of fighting in the prison. His fighting style is to die or stop. You hit me a punch or two, I carry down, and then return you many punches, until you knock you down. And the rules of the game is to lose or die. So Tom killed one opponent after another, and his status grew. He cut off his long hair and combed up his exquisite big back hair. A boss look. The man who used violence to resist violence at first is now violence itself. There is one person who is very different from Tom. That is Yuck Yuck Billy. Faced with the violence in prison, he just wanted to escape. Escaped several times. Was caught several times, but never gave up. This day he used a stolen key to open the cell door, and again ready to go to get the hidden money. Immediately caught by the prison guards. This time Billy's fate is very bad. The guards gave him to a strong man. Was tortured only a breath. Before he died, Billy said to Tom, "Don't become what they want you to be." Tom finally realizes the error of his ways and he begins to resist violence. Another fighting match comes up against the same strong man who killed Billy, but Tom just gives up and lets the other guy beat him without fighting back. This made the warden lose face in front of the guests, and he ordered the guards to grab Tom and drop him on the iron frame, saying that unless he was willing to fight, he would hang here, day after day. Sunny days by the sun, rainy days by the rain. Tom was soon dying, but he never compromised. His defiance infected the other inmates, who gradually understood that all the struggles in this prison were won only by the warden, and that the inmates were only victims. So the conflict between gangs was resolved. There is no longer a competition in the fighting arena, and the warden's money-making channels are completely shattered. At Tom's insistence, peace finally triumphed over violence, and the wardens were afraid to kill him. If we kill him, we turn him into a Marzia. The day Tom was released, the warden finally had to kill him to establish prestige, but instead of letting the guards do it, he released a prisoner. It was a 2-meter-tall monster-like giant, who pulled open the collar and rushed over, beating Tom horribly and strangling him alive. At this point, Tom desperately slapped the iron door. The giant heard the slapping sound, actually let go of the hand. The original Tom, every time he was locked up in a small dark room, will hear someone next door patting the wall. He will also shoot 2 responses. Over time, and the mysterious prisoner has become a friend, and he is the giant. The giant was not highly intelligent, but recognized Tom and reached over to pet him. The warden immediately asked the guards to pull out their guns. In order to protect Tom, the giant rushed to the guards against the bullets, carrying all the bullets, but also the guards beat up, and even crashed through the cell door before completely fallen. The angry prisoners rushed out and began to round up the guards. Soon the riot escalated. Everywhere there was a fight and fire fleeing, until the guards out of the armed forces with machine gun fire to force a calm. In this chaos, Tom meets his black roommate Leo, who turns out to be not a murderer but a judge, and the people who die in his hands are all guilty of the worst crimes. Leo also had a diary full of evidence of the warden's violent enrichment over the years, which he gave to Tom to take out and report. And as for how to get out, Leo already had a plan. He wants Tom to go to another fight, whether it is a loss or a win. The warden will press him to death for the sake of dignity, and then is the best opportunity to escape from prison. It didn't take long for Tom to get his last fight, against the same strong man who killed Billy. This time facing the full force of Tom's fists, he was soon no match, and was always smashed on the stake, to pay for Billy's life. And Tom was indeed escorted to the penal colony to the garage. Hiding Leo suddenly sneak attack, with Tom beat down the prison guards. Then Leo let him change his clothes, and let him get in the warden's car. But Leo himself but not go. He has more important things to do. Tom drove through the barriers and left with the evidence, and the man of justice finally returned to freedom. On the other hand, Leo sneaks into the warden's office, and he takes out his pliers and closes in. When the wardens rushed up, the warden on the ground has been deeply pulled out of his tongue, and the man of violence for profit was finally destroyed by violence. Well, do you like this film? If you like it, do not forget to click a like. Oh, what ideas can be in the comments section to tell me.